And I'll tell you, onboarding to me is two separate pieces, and you want to have these two pieces scripted. For years, we struggled with onboarding people with Facebook ads, just by the nature that Facebook is confusing as fuck. Getting the ugliest, most time-draining thing off your plate, and having good processes documented for it, you'd be amazed at how much faster your agency can scale. Smash. All right, we're in. Good seeing you guys all again. Back for another week. Love what you guys are building. I love the quality of the questions, and I'm really digging the quality of the community we've built here. We got some of like the industry leaders, biggest, heaviest hitters, and I don't know, that's by design, but I'm really stoked to see like the amazing group of people that we brought together here. So this is my way of saying you guys are fucking awesome. Quick little announcement just before we get rocking and rolling. Just want to tell you guys we're building more cool stuff in the Wolfpack. Been a little bit of challenges with hiring and stuff like that, even though I do lots of awesome work. Not even I bat 1,000 with hiring, so we brought in some new people, but we're working on bringing a done for you component to help you guys just build all the stuff you guys are trying to build, make it easier for you guys, because I think you guys are the shit. So if you guys are interested in that, I put some links for you below. I'm just going to keep making that better and better. I have no plans to stop doing this anytime soon. I love this business. I love you guys, so we're just going to keep rolling full steam ahead with that. Anyways, let's get on with the details. I guess I should say, for those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, you can check out those details at beyondagencyprofits.com, and then there's a button there for the Wolfpack, and you can find out some details. So, without further ado, I was almost ready to start reading the questions, but how good would that be without the awesome Frankie Finn intro? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. So you guys are awesome. We got Kayesha up. A couple of these questions are from last week, but I had some microphone issues, so I thought let's redo the missed stuff. Kayesha says, what systems do you all have in place to make onboarding simpler, and for your contracts or forms, what do you use? After 10 years of just winging it in some areas, I'm ready to go after more clients, but not in the same place. Hope that makes sense. Also, how do you feel about YouTube as a source of information to grow your agency? I literally had someone tell me they built their 7-figure agency using YouTube. In what ways, besides ads, are some of you all getting clients? Someone told me to create presentations. I haven't done those in years. Okay. So firstly, those are a bunch of questions, so let's break them down. Firstly, what do you do to make onboarding simpler? This is a smart question. And I'll tell you, onboarding to me is two separate pieces, and you want to have these two pieces scripted. Piece number one, over here, is what I call the grand welcome. And the grand welcome comes from the fact that whenever people make a big purchasing decision, they've probably been screwed before. And so what you want to do is sort of like mentally reward them and make them feel like they've made a good decision and that they're in good hands. And so I call this the grand welcome, or the welcome aboard. And so that's the first piece. I'll tell you what we do in our agency. It's really simple. I send an edible arrangement. I don't send the fruit baskets. I send the chocolates and the brownies and the cookies and things like that. And we have a standardized message, and we send it, and we also send a handwritten note in the mail. It takes 5 minutes every time we sign up a client. It's the same package, it's the same thing. We change the person's name, we tweak, we personalize the welcome a little bit, but same thing every time. Second piece is the information you need to get started, which is usually passwords and logins and access and things like that. And what you want to think about this, there's more than one way to be successful at this, but I feel like the best thing you can do is make this as dog shit simple as possible for the client. One, because I think it makes you look professional and you can get started faster. But two, is it scales better, right? Like, the easier it is for the clients. I've seen people have success with complex onboarding and hour-long calls, and there may be reasons why you want to do that, but I like just like get me the information and let's get started, because I think it scales better. And so we use a tool called Leadsy, which gives us access to all their client accounts and tools. I think it's like $39 a month or something like that for the starting account, and then they have different tiers depending on how much you want to use it. But it enables the client just to click on their Google or their Facebook ads, or I think they have TikTok as well now, and they can just go approve, 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 and then you're in their account. And it makes it super, super easy for them to like add you in like 2 minutes kind of thing, instead of like, because I don't know about you guys, but for years we struggled with onboarding people with Facebook ads, just by the nature that Facebook is confusing as fuck. They have a business manager, they have an ad manager, and then they have a page. And almost always, like, the client like can't understand why there's 3 of them. Especially like I'm dealing a lot with older injury lawyers and things like that. And they're like, I gave you the page already. And you're like, yeah, but there's also an ad manager and a business manager. I still need those 2 other things. And so the simpler you can make that process, the more you can do it professional. So onboarding simpler is welcome them in style and address that sort of buyer's remorse. And if there was a voice, by the way, to buyer's remorse, it would be, I'm going to look stupid in the eyes of others for this decision I made, and then like make it easy for them to, just get started with passwords and shit like that. And if you do that, like you're gonna make working with you like a real joy and a blessing, which a lot of people are just making up shit as they go. But if you want to scale it, like you should know what you're gonna do even before they say yes. Then also, you mentioned, how do I feel about YouTube as a source of information? YouTube as a source of information, as in consuming it, is hit and miss. I probably watch too many cooking shows on YouTube. That's my guilty pleasure. And old wrestling, 1990s wrestling, 2000s Attitude Era. It can be, hit and miss as a source of information. I see a lot of like bullshit out there. Like I see a lot of people that are selling grow an agency that I can just tell, having done this business for 16 years, have never fucking grown an agency, especially by the nature of their like, just basically if they're telling you like just cold pitch a bunch of people and get booked appointments and you'll succeed. Like there's delivery, there's teams, there's systems, there's onboarding, there's structure, there's hierarchy, there's, a lot of other things. I wouldn't say it's like a crazy complex business, but there's more than just quote unquote booking appointments. But having said that, there is some really good shit on YouTube too. So like if you have a good way to discern, it'd be good. As far as using it as a tool to grow an agency, hell yeah. The only reason I'll tell you most people don't use YouTube or to grow an agency is it's not an instant gratification thing. Like when I put out YouTube videos, like for basically like 6 months, nothing happens. The algorithm doesn't like you. You don't really have that many videos for people to find you. So, but I'll tell you what changed my mind. I got a call from a lawyer. So I created a YouTube channel, just so you guys know, in the lawyer space like 6-7 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago. And I made a couple dozen videos, and I didn't stick with it, and I gave up, which is, by the way, you shouldn't do that in general, but I did. And it was just like another failed experiment. And then a couple years later, what's up, mate? Steve is in Portugal, rocking it. I started getting phone calls from my YouTube channel, and YouTube, like for some reason, like the algorithm started favoring 1 or 2 of my videos. Yeah, this is 7-8 years after they're made. And then all of a sudden, like I'm getting regular phone calls from lawyers, and I was picking up consulting gigs, and I was like, man, I really wish I stuck with it. And so I've since stuck with it, and YouTube is a great thing. Now you asked like, how are people getting clients? There's really like, maybe like 4 ways people are getting clients. They fall into different One of those is just good old fashioned networking, knowing the right people, especially if you're let's say you're in the dentist industry, like you want to know the people who put on the dentist conferences and the dentist events and all the people who are the prominent figures in dentistry. Those people, you're going to get business. So there's thing number 1 is just like who you know and good old fashioned networking. Thing number 2, obviously, paid ads. Whether you use Facebook or Google or TikTok or YouTube, doesn't matter. Put your shit religiously in front of your audience. The third way is content. Content works wonder, but I'll tell you why most people don't do content. It's a slow, methodical game, and it has no reward in the beginning. For like the first 3 months, nothing happens with content. 6 months even. So most people can't stick with content, but if you do it, you'll become a topical authority expert. It just fucking works. And thing number 4 is like outreach and being able to initiate conversations. If you asked me if I had to actually bet it all on 1, maybe 2 of those, I would actually use networking and content. I'm not against paid ads, but believe it or not, paid ads work really well when you have content. Like, nobody will tell you that, but repetition is a thing with paid ads. When I first started running ads to lawyers, like, nothing worked and nothing worked. And then after 8 months, all our stuff worked continuously. And I started to think, well, I understood these people better and I was writing better ads. And that was true. But the biggest reason, like, it worked is just, like, they got used to seeing our name in their newsfeed for, like, 8 months. And now after 8 months of seeing it, they're like, okay, these guys are not a fly-by-night deal kind of thing. So there's, like, a repetition of brand that happens by just continuously advertising. And content kind of does the same thing. But that's it. Like, if you want to get clients, put out authoritative content or go network with the right people or run some paid ads or do some outreach. Like, that's pretty much the game. My favorite way, I guess if you said, I would do outreach to the highest level people in the industry, what I call the shoe stores or the grocery stores. So hope that's helpful. Jordan says, agency owners that are further along than me, help me out. I've grown to 15K monthly running a solo operation. I can't continue to run by myself, especially if I continue to grow at the rate I'm growing. How did you begin to scale past this point? Did you hire subcontractors, employees, full-time, part-time? What's my next logical step here? Jordan, it depends. Cole butters me up and he says, there's good shit on YouTube because I'm there. That's fucking right. My low-quality videos with some occasional sketchy microphones, but putting out good information. That's the secret. So anyways, with the scaling past 15K, okay, so 15K is like, usually when you start to, like, your problems shift from sales related to fulfillment related, and like actually being able to scale fulfillment is a way bigger challenge at this point. I'll tell you the biggest reason people can't scale fulfillment past between like 10 and like 25K. I see a lot of people get stuck in that point, and it's a structure issue. They're literally just doing too many different things for too many different people. So it's important to understand that, like, scaling a company is like, people say, like, money loves speed, but speed loves simplicity. And so when you think about this, when Amazon first scaled, they only sold books, right? Like, if you think about what Amazon today is, that's not how they first got started. If you think about what McDonald's first was, they only sold burgers. They eventually added in fries and a Coke, but in the beginning, you could only buy burgers. And so I compare the scaling process, the structure is almost always what kills people is they're doing too many different things. It'd be like if you ran a restaurant and it was like kind of undefined what the restaurant was. And so one day somebody says, hey, do you guys know how to make burgers? And you say, sure, we can make you a burger. And then you like go buy the meat and you source the products and you go make a burger. And then the next day somebody says, well, do you guys do catering? On Tuesday, somebody says, do you do catering? And then you got to figure out catering and delivering it and what you got to research which foods keep well for catering. And then the day on Monday or on Wednesday, somebody says, do you guys make Chinese food? And you go, shit, we'll whip up some egg rolls. And you got to drive to the Asian market and figure that stuff out. And then on day 4, somebody says, can you guys make pizza? And now you got to buy like a wood fire oven. And so you're always solving these custom problems. When you want to scale, it's like burgers, 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 burgers. Like if you think about what McDonald's did. And then you can customize it a little bit, right? That's the difference between custom and customization. It's like they say, do you want extra cheese on your burger? You say, all right, I'll give you extra cheese. If they say I want onions or hold the onions, no problem. I don't like ketchup. Okay, no ketchup. Like you'll personalize the burger. But if they come in and say, do you want Chinese food? You recommend, hey, sorry, that's a different restaurant. We're not the Chinese food people. And so I see this issue come up where essentially people build an agency, get to 15K a month, and they're doing a little bit of everything. And you have to narrow down on one of those things and go all in on burgers if you want to be able to scale past that. Second thing that keeps people stuck from going beyond that point is that they don't have well-defined processes and they don't have people to manage those processes. So if you think about it, like, why do people buy franchises? Like, why not just start your own shit, make a bunch of money? You have no, like, if you think about it, a franchise charges this royalty fee and they keep a lot of your profits and there's like a lot of restrictions on what you can and can't do. So why in their right mind would anybody buy a fucking franchise with all those fees? And here's why. The average success rate of a franchise is 75%. The average success rate of a started like custom business from scratch is 10%, meaning like 9 out of 10 fail and 3 out of 4 franchises are successful. And the reason they're successful is because they have systems and processes and documentation. Like if you buy a McDonald's franchise, since we're on that kind of train, like you're not going to fucking go, you know, figure out how to make a burger or how to promote it or what offers work. You're going to step into all of that. And so that's the benefit is the key is like there's a hidden metric in running this agency, and the hidden metric is energy. If I know I'm only a burger restaurant, that means before somebody walks in the door, the burger is 90% finished even before they say yes, because I have the system, I have the process, I have the machine. It's like literally already built, and all I got to do is like, okay, sure, have an extra slice of cheese, wrap it up, here you go. But it's done, right? And so where people get stuck in that journey is like literally they're making fries, they're making salads, they're making onion rings, they're making pizza one day. Now we're catering. Now we got a live event across town. We're going to go, provide the food for that and set up shop there. And if you just focus on like doing one thing, build teams or build processes and put people in place to do those tasks, you'll be amazed. Now, the first hire since you asked that I always like to make is whatever the thing is that takes up all my time that I fucking hate the most. Now, that's a little bit different for everybody. Some people hate sales and marketing, so it may be related to that. Some people hate the fulfillment side. I'm one of those people. So, like, for me, the first thing that's got to go is something fulfillment related. So, but if you focus on that, like getting the ugliest, most time-draining thing off your plate and having good processes documented for it, you'll be amazed at how much faster your agency can scale. And that is the foundation that will eventually turn into Know You, an agency that runs without you. That's like really the ultimate goal, because it's better for the clients and it's sellable when you decide to be finished with it. Hetty says, how do I start a crypto marketing agency? I'm so interested in the crypto world. Hetty, so I do a couple of consulting for equity in the crypto space. And so meaning like I give them ideas for how to like get their coin or their token out there. And I get a share of like profits. So either in crypto, as is often the case, it'll be worth zero and we'll make nothing. So I'm okay with being worth zero. And if it works out, like I could have, tens of millions of dollars worth of tokens or equivalent value. And I'll tell you the secret to being able to get these is really just having a better plan than they do. They're not hard to get, by the way. I just randomly, as an exercise, when crypto was kind of like hotter in the space, I reached out to a few different projects I was interested in and said, I'm interested in like helping you guys out to grow this thing. And I just want a share of like some tokens. So like if the tokens aren't worth anything, none of us make any money, but if I can help you build it, blah, 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 would you be interested in talking about that? And pretty much everybody said yes. Like it's not a hard thing. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing is like actually choosing a project you believe in, because the projects themselves are not hard to get. And then the other hard piece is you need to have a plan to be able to promote them. And crypto has a lot of restrictions for advertising. So for me, like I just decided we're not even going to touch the advertising. And what we're doing is really two things. Is we're putting out massive amounts of content about our token. We just launched this. We just updated that. New feature, blah, blah, blah. Smart contracts this. Now you can do this. Like, I can't, without being too detailed about like what we can do. But that's like, thing number one is I'm helping them to just create massive amounts of content. So like, it's like creating inroads to a new city that doesn't have a way to reach it. And then also like identifying influencers in the space and then like kind of deal making with them. And for the most part, I just consult. I give them an idea. We meet once a month. We talk for an hour, and then like I get a share of tokens for where that project goes. So that's kind of like how I do it. I'm not saying that's the right way for everybody, but crypto projects are not hard to get. The harder thing is like actually identifying like a winning horse before, because there's so many like scams in crypto where they're just like rug pulls and things like that. Like if you're going to build something up, you might as well build something up that actually is going to be around in 5 years and like, is going to pay dividends. So like a lot of it is just researching like what's up and coming. And usually the best projects have like a real competitive advantage when it comes to technology, like where this is like actually filling a need in the marketplace. And they're just a bunch of tech nerds who don't know how to communicate it. Like that's my favorite kind of wheelhouse, where they have something good that's useful and they just don't know how to tell people about it. Anyways, hope that's helpful, my man. Javeria, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. That's a fucking cool name. What are the key things to write in a proposal? Firstly, I should say that there's a book that called Upstream, and the idea in the book is any sort of recurring thing you have in business is a symptom of something else deeper in your machine that's happening before that moment. So often when people ask you for a proposal, not saying this is the case with you, but often when people ask you for a proposal, they're not sold on what you're going to do together. Now, sometimes they just want it codified. Now, This is just my experience with proposals. I'm not saying this is the truth for everybody, but I found that I used to make a lot of custom proposals, and they were long and they were detailed, and they would have like all this stuff, and like I did a lot of SEO proposals back in the day, so they'd have like keywords and their rankings and what we're going to do to fix them and all that. And it used to drive me crazy because the proposals took me like 2-3 hours every time I made them. And then I would contact the client and say like, what do you think of my proposal? And they never fucking read it, ever. They're always like, oh, I haven't got to it, I'll get back to it. And I'm like, I spent so much time making it, and they don't even read it. And one day I switched to a video proposal, and it was just like a restating of expectations. It was like, here's what results I think we can get. Here's the time, how long I think it'll take us to do it. Here's how much it'll cost. Here's how we're going to communicate. Here's what I need from you. And do that really short. Or I've also done it in a document where it's just like one page highlighting those 5 things. This is like, because those are the 5 things you want to get on the same page. Again, results, like what can you actually do? And always under-promise results. Like if you think you can get them like to number 1 in 6 months, tell them you think you can get them top 3 in a year, right? Like, so that way you can always exceed the expectation you've set, or tell them you think you can get them top 5 in, within 8 months or 9 months or something like that. But be crystal clear about what results you're looking for. And like, I would, these specific keywords, right? Like these kind of things. And then how long that's going to take, what costs are going to be incurred, and how you guys are going to communicate. And that'll actually bring people on the same page together with business. So I found that like that works at least best for us is like, but I'll tell you, like the little just loom highlighting those 5 things actually works better than all the fucking custom proposals I've created over the years, and wasted hundreds, if not thousands of fucking hours creating pointless proposals that nobody fucking read. So I'm not telling you this is the way, but fuck proposals. Just tell them what you're going to do after you work together, and you'd be amazed that like it'll generally land better. Rayanne says, I remember hearing in one of Frankie's videos that selling websites on memberships build enterprise value, and when looking to sell the business, it's way better than a traditional website design agency. Does anyone know what it could sell for if it's, say, let's get you $100K a year and you're paying you $100 monthly subscription to access the website instead of a one-time build? Okay, so for those of you guys who aren't familiar with the video, I did a video with a very, very smart friend of mine in the legal space. His name is Raj Jha, and Raj is a actual retired attorney who also started an agency serving attorneys and helping them with their networking. And we were talking about a company called Scorpion. And Scorpion is a big, like, $100 million plus. I don't know exactly what numbers they're doing, but they're a big solution. They're across a couple of different industries, but they're also in legal as well as a few others. And what they do that's different is they sell a platform, so you get a website with it, but that platform comes with some like kind of like go high level built-in SaaS things, so it can text people, it can have follow-up. And so they're selling an all-in-one system. And the thing about it is, because it's a system and not just a website, it's stickier than a website. Because if somebody just buys a website, like they can update their website in 2 years and they don't need that website anymore. But because it comes with these auxiliary pieces that they don't have to build, in Scorpion's case, what happens is like people tend to stay with them and stay with them and stay with them and pay with them month after month. And that's like a side effect of it being like hybrid website kind of software solution. And so they built it into a platform. And the idea is when they update something for one website, like say they have a missed call text back, if they update it for one website, they update it through their whole system. And so you're buying into the system. And the reason why that's important is because nobody wants to buy a fucking website company, right? Like, it's just an owner trading money for service. But if you have a platform that people are buying into month after month, and you own this platform, and as a result you own the clients, you can often get a 10-20x multiple. So to answer your question, if you got a platform that's doing $100,000 a year, often you can get like between $1 million and $2 million for that business if it's like valid and it's a good solution and people are sticking around for it. So that's the reason. If you guys are interested, you can check out that video with Raj. He's also got a company called exitscout.com, and it's for people who are doing all this grunt work 15, 20 years building websites and have zero enterprise value. Is how to just tweak your machine 10-20% so that you're actually like have a sellable asset, so that if one day you decide like I don't want to design any more fucking websites, you can sell your machine and it's worth something to somebody else, and you can actually get out of it and like have a cash buyout. So if you guys are interested, check that out. Syed says, wanted to know how many of you are running Facebook ads to get leads. Is it worth it? What is the monthly budget I should consider if I'm targeting US and Canada? Syed, I've personally probably invested at least a few $100,000 into Facebook ads over the years of my own money, growing our agency. And actually, the reason it's not more than that, because I could have spent a lot more than that, especially at certain times, is because we got really good at it and had like operations problems up the yin yang. Like when you get really good at signing clients through Facebook ads, like you're too busy with the work you have. So we had a lot of those kind of issues, and not like, can we sign Now, having said that, Facebook ads do not work equally well for everybody. And the biggest indicator, I always say this, is like, go where your target market is already. I can't say that enough. Go where your audience is already. It depends on your niche, right? If you're dealing with e-commerce stores, they're hanging out in Shopify Facebook groups and Klaviyo. If you're dealing with like a landscaper, they're probably in real fucking life, hanging out like, you know, like working with their hands kind of people. I call those the redneck niches. If you're working with dentists, they're probably part of professional associations. So like, go where they are already. I can't say that enough. Now, having said that, if your audience is on Facebook, and you know, like there's so many people on Facebook and they're targetable, then what I would suggest is like what we always did is with Facebook is I always start with $50 to $100 worth of test ad. And I test my offer directly. And what I'm looking for is people to say, I'm curious about that. Like, hey, if we did this for you, would you be interested? Price, everything, put all the details. And if nobody raises their hand and says, me, I'm interested, then I know the offer won't work if I strap more to it. But if they say like, that's what I need, and they reach out, I do more. And then all you have to do is when it's working is, for the most part, is just put more money into it. So I work like really, really hard on nailing like an awesome fucking creative with a dramatic demonstration as an image, right targeting, really strong offer, and as a result, strong messaging. And then when you get that right, and then what happens is after it starts working is I add complexity to it, meaning like Facebook ads is an interruption marketing machine, and it works better if you have email follow-ups and things like that. But what I'll usually do is like some kind of like free training about the thing we have for sale. So like if you're selling SEO, I'll do a free training for plumbers about how to rank your website, and then get them onto a list and follow up with them. And for that part, like usually $5-10 a lead. And just so you guys know, you can actually hit 7 figures with less than 500 total contacts in your CRM. So we've actually done it where we were doing a webinar and selling people through webinar. We started hitting big numbers when there were about 400 contacts total, like who had subscribed for our webinar. So you don't need huge numbers of people. You need the right people coming through the machine. But if that's you, like Facebook ads can be awesome. I don't think we ever spent more than like $100-200 a day. For the most part, like once you get your shit dialed in, you know, that'll bring you 2 to 3 good sales opportunities a day. And that's usually enough for most people. Like it's before long, you'll have fulfillment problems, even with 2 to 3 consistent opportunities a day. Chetan, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, says, was in a sales call today, sent an invoice, said she'll take care of it today. Then got this message from her. Hi, let me talk to my accountant about your services. Should be fine, but I do have to run it past her. How do I handle this? Firstly, in general, if you want to handle this permanently, not as like a one-off, like just take fucking payments on the phone, or however you're doing it. Like we do it over chat, but like take the payment right then and there. Don't delay. When they say yes, say, all right, is it cool if I send you the payment link? They say yes. All right, and sit there and wait and let them fill it out and like get started and begin the onboarding process like right after they pay you. Like to me, a sales call transition into onboarding is how it's supposed to be. Spend like the last 10 minutes of a successful sales call or sales presentation or sales process is onboarding. It's not like I'm selling you anything. It's like, okay, I sent you the payment link. Here's what we're going to need to do first, blah, 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 blah. And like it's moving on with that process. So when that happens, like if you take the payment right away, like you'll have significantly less of that. Now, having said that, there are real people who do talk to accountants. Like I used to have a surgeon, I remember in Beverly Hills. We'll just call him Dr. M. But Dr. M used to, he used to always like push his stuff through his accounting department. So he was always like 2 weeks late. But he very legitimately had an accounting department, and there were real people, and he pushed his invoices off to them, and they kept clean books for him, and there are a lot of reasons for that. And so, like, it's sometimes, like, a lot of times when people say, like, hey, I got to talk to my partner, or they give you some kind of objection, it's because they're unsold. But sometimes that's actually real. And usually you can tell when it's real is when they give you the specifics. I'll give you the difference, okay? So I remember I've had lots of lawyers say, I got to talk to my partner. And as soon as they hang up the phone, like, they ain't talking to their partner. But I remember one guy who said, like, hey, his name was Tom. He was a lawyer in Minnesota. He said, hey, Frankie, I got to talk to my partner, Joe. Him and I make all our decisions together. We're meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I'm like 99% sure he's going to be cool with it. We're going to be in. But is there any chance you could call us like 15 minutes before the end of that meeting so we can just blah, blah, blah? And I'm going to actually talk to my partner. We're going to sit down. But, like, he really is going to talk to his partner, and they really, really are going to discuss moving forward with this. So that's why I say, like people do really, really, like, sometimes talk to accountants. So, like, just focus. Like, I always tell people, don't get hung up in chasing this one individual deal and be like the desperate girl. Just focus on, like, watering your garden and just putting new stuff into your machine. Because, like, that's the best thing you can do. Control the controllables. But I hope that's helpful. It's like, in the future, just, like, ask for the money up front, like, right then and there. And don't worry about accountants and all calling people back. Just, like, make it a normal step in the process. And a lot of times people are rushed trying to get to the next call. But, like, don't do that. Like, start onboarding. Start taking payment. Like, start working together right then and there. Devin says, question for the group. I have a conversion rate optimization agency. I've lost a couple clients and looking to replace them and grow. I have a couple advertising outreach options. Wondered which you would recommend. LinkedIn outreach at $2K a month. Google ads at $800 a month. No leads yet after 2 weeks. Facebook ads at $1K a month to target e-com decision makers with a $2,500 holiday tune-up. Directory placement at $3K a year on Clutch. Directory pages gets about 120 clicks. Our typical retainer is about $4 to $5K for ongoing A/B testing, and we do CRO audits for 1.5 and for a landing page, but more commonly $5K for a whole site. What do you suggest prioritizing, Devin? So this is one of those things where I feel like a lot of times people ask questions that imply like a sort of solution, because they don't have clarity about something to, like, ask like a prerequisite. So what I mean by that in your case is, my question isn't like, should you spend money on this or that? It's like, who makes the best clients for you already? And it sounds like in your case, like, we're talking about e-commerce brands that have, like, a certain amount of established, build up and things like that. So my question is, like, where are those e-commerce people already? Where are they most active? So, like, is the easiest way to reach them by outreach? I'm guessing, like, it's probably the easiest, but it's probably the most competitive as well, especially on LinkedIn. Like, I don't know, maybe a bunch of e-commerce people are on LinkedIn, but if I had to guess, it's probably not the best solution. Google ads, maybe, but they're probably not searching specifically for conversion rate optimization. Facebook ads, that would probably be the first place I'd go, and then the directory placement. Now, having said that, the thing I like to think about is, like, the clients that this has worked the best for, like, what did you do for them? Because a lot of this is talking about hammer-related things. I'll do a CRO, I'll do a landing page, and I'm assuming you present that to clients differently, but maybe not, because a lot of people typically present their hammers. But if you want to make it, like, work and be sticky and all that, like, talk about, like, the easiest thing you can do is talk about a past client, what you did for them. Like, think about a client you want to clone and turn that into a training. It doesn't have to be long, like a 5-10 minute, here's a client, here's what we did, here's the problem, blah, blah, blah. If you would like us to do something similar for you, opt in here. And I would probably triple down on Facebook ads. If I had to guess, if I was going after e-commerce people, it's not my niche, so this is just an educated guess, but I would probably triple down on the Facebook ads and then hit those people from all kinds of different angles with, like, case studies and benefits of CRO and the problems it solves. Because a lot of times too, you have to frame it in terms of the problems they have, right? Like a big problem I see a lot of times in e-commerce is they do big numbers, but their margins are like razor fucking thin. And I'll tell you, when you have small margins, you're stressed the fuck out. Like I've seen this, like I've had different points in my own agency where like you can be doing like 100K a month, but like say you're like leveling up the agency and you invest all in this infrastructure. Like I had a friend tell me once that he had built his agency up to a point, and then he decided, like, I think he was at 100,000 and he wanted to get 300,000. So he invested in all this infrastructure to get to 300,000. So he hired all these people, built all these teams, and then 2 of his biggest clients left. And so what happened is his expenses went up to $80,000 a month, and he was expecting his income to go up, but instead it went from 100,000 to like something a lot less. And he basically told me, like, I had a week to make $80,000 or would have been out of business or had to fire everybody. And so he did it, by the way. He sold $80,000 worth of stuff. But, like, that's the challenge is, like, there's payroll, there's things to make, there's obligations, there's software, there's tools. And in the case of e-commerce, there's inventory. So if you can frame conversion rate optimization in terms of how it helps those real issues, meaning, like, if they convert better, like if you just make this page convert 10% better, like what will that do for your margins across your entire business? What will that do for your staff costs? What will that do for your inventory or your ability to spend on advertisements and things like that? Like your actual take-home profits will go up, and you'll worry less and less about those other things. So like you want to frame it in terms of things that actually benefit them and not their hammer. But to answer your question, like stop talking about the hammer. Focus on like what it does for an e-commerce owner, and I probably, like I said, triple down on Facebook ads. Avram says, question regarding client gifting. Normally we're dealing with the owner directly during the sales process, even if they have someone else on their team who will become the point of contact. In those cases, we gift the owner directly during the onboarding process. What would you do when the owner's not involved at all? Zero contact now, likely never will be. Do you think you gift the point of contact instead, or still try to gift the owner? Thoughts? Firstly, I gift the point of contact for sure, if that's the person you're talking to. And if I can, I gift the owner as well. Sometimes it's like not practical and not feasible. Also, like I like to deal with businesses that are kind of like stage 2, stage 3, where they have teams and they have people, but they're not so massive that they're like, there's departments and, like everything has to have a meeting just to turn the fucking boat 5 degrees. And usually there's a certain size of those businesses. Like when a business, like anybody who's worked in a large corporate environment can confirm what I'm saying. Like they do not make quick, easy decisions, and you can't usually talk to just one person and make a decision. Like there's always committees. I just tend not to work with people like that. There's a lot of reasons you might, like you can get bigger fees and stuff like that, but I like seeing the benefits of my work and things like that. And so I don't typically work with like big corporate-y stuff, but I also don't like working with like small, struggling folks. I like working with folks who've gotten some traction and built a team, blah, 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 and help get to the next level. But when I want to talk to the owner, like the owner's on speed dial, and I can get them directly, or I can message them directly and make stuff happen. So, in general, like if you can choose what kind of clients you have, but in general, like if you have a situation where like you're dealing with like a representative, like just be cool to that representative as much as you can be. And then, if you can, like send a second gift to the owner. And even if you'll never be, because you just want them to know, like, hey, we exist, you're helping us out, and we appreciate you. So I hope that's helpful, like with gifting. But like gifting, as long as you're doing it, gifting is better than not gifting. So like you're gonna make people feel appreciated. You're gonna make them feel like their business is wanted. Sometimes just a little shit. Like I was just messaging a lawyer last night who mentioned that they had like some kind of surgery on their like colon, like some kind of colon surgery, and I'm just like, dude, how you feeling? Are you all right? Are you still able to manage the law firm? And he's like, it took like a week or two, but I'm feeling a lot better. Appreciate you asking. Like just little shit like that goes a long way for like business, because like like they realize their business is valued and things like that. So looks like that's all we got for the questions. I appreciate you guys and your awesome questions. For those of you guys who are interested, put a link for those of you guys who want to grow the agency business without the meetings and the phone calls, and really make it a lifestyle thing where you can do cool stuff and have fun. We got some details on that. You can go to also beyondagencyprofits.com/Wolfpack. And appreciate you guys. You guys are fucking awesome. Much love. Happy Monday. Got lots to do today, and the nanny is on vacation, so it's going to be a crazy week for us because we're going to have kids full-time up in here. But I'm glad the nanny got to have a cool trip, and I'm gonna probably have some kids strapped to me this week. So much love, and may the force be with you. Guys, if you like this video, you're also going to want to grab some free bonuses, which you can get at our website, Beyond Agency Profits. To make it easy for you, I've put the links to it in the description of this video, as well as pinned in the top comment. And we've got a couple of awesome things. This is what you'll get after you sign up. You get some of our best training, how we're closing clients over Loom videos, how we sometimes sign clients that is not a misprint for under $5 US, how to demonstrate your value in like amazing ways, trainings, how to have your clients write the best copy of your life, how we're closing without phone calls, campaigns that we've generated for clients that have done over $100,000, as well as scripts you can use to get conversations going with clients in under 10 minutes. All you got to simply do is go there, enter your name and email address, and then this is what you'll see on the other side. So if that's interesting to you, make sure to click the links below, and I will see you on the other side.